Okay, this is chapter 4, and this is about managing or cleaning up your data. So before you can analyze it, you spend a lot of time doing this kind of stuff. So we're going to learn about that. So he's going to start with like a problem that we're going to try and investigate. So he says one of the topics that he studies in his current job is how men and women differ in the way they lead their organizations. So typical questions might be, do men and women in management positions differ in the degree to which they defer to their superiors? So that's a kind of a statistical, that's a kind of question that you might try to analyze through looking at data about these people. And another question he says is, does this vary from country to country, or are these gender differences universal? So you can have various hypotheses about the answers to these questions, but he's going to want to look at data, and in the process he's going to learn about managing that data, or processing that data, or we say actually pre-processing the data before he can analyze it. So he's going to send around a questionnaire asking people about their managers, and they're going to give answers. So he's going to ask 5 different questions, and the answers can be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And so with each, he's going to ask about each manager. So here's questions about manager 1, questions about manager 2, and so on. So we have this data set, and we have manager, date, country, different countries, gender, age, and then the answers to the questions. And here we see that some questions are not answered, and this will always happen. So you have to deal with these kinds of silly little problems, like the fact that some answers are not given. So the first thing he wants to do is create a data frame, and so he has the different columns, right? This column, this column, this column, this column. So he creates all these columns, and then of course he makes a data frame to hold all of these vectors, and then it's a data frame. And here's something we hadn't seen before: strings as factors equals false. So the reason you need this is because the data frame function, this data frame function here, will automatically convert strings to factors. So a lot of these are strings, right? Like this is a string, these are strings, these are numbers, but these two are strings. So it's going to convert them to factors, but I don't know why, but he doesn't want to convert them to factors, at least not right now. So strings as factors set to false, because automatically it will, the data frame function will convert them to factors, but you can add in this argument here and say strings as factors equals false, and it won't do that. So I'd like you to try this on your own. So type in this data and see what you get. So I have it here, and if I do str on this leadership, I can see that the strings are strings, or characters. In fact, even this is a character. These are characters. Now the first one, this one, date, is a character, but really we don't really want to treat this as a character string. We want to treat it as date, but we don't know how to do that yet. Okay? But anyway, these two are not factors. Now if I hadn't done it that way, so instead of having strings as factors equal to false, so if I took that out, so that I have it like this. Now let's see what happens if I do str now. So you can see that it automatically converted this to a factor and this to a factor, and even date to a factor, which probably is not what we would want to do in almost every case. But I'll go back and set this the way he did it. So it's now character strings.